Hi guys, today I'm going to talk to you about how to write a report. So in this case we're doing a historical report and we're looking at specifically a event or an idea that has spread over a long period of time. So what we're doing is dividing up our topics into subtopics. So we've got one big broad idea and then we're looking at three distinctly different ideas under that one, and that's why it makes a report. The difference between a report and an essay is that the topics don't need to fit together. You don't have to link any of the paragraphs together, which makes it kind of easier to write. The difference between a report and an argumentative essay is that you don't actually have to provide an opinion. You just need to say what was happening or how it happened or why it happened. It doesn't necessarily need to say whether that event was good or bad, or if that decision was good or bad. All right, so if we look at the very start of that, like with most tasks, what we actually ask you to do first of all is an introduction. And so an introduction provides context, and so therefore the sentence one needs to cover who, when and where that you're talking about. Sentence two covers what. If my cat walks across, it's kind of funny. And how. And your sentence three is why. Alright, so that's just what that first bit entails. So then we go to our subtopic, our first subtopic. Our first subtopic needs to be the topic that is most obvious. So this is the one that you know the best and you think is the best answer. Seriously, my cat's seriously walking in front of it. So this is your best topic. Goes in that paragraph. I need to let her out. Come on. Good girl. Off you go. Off you go. There you go. Don't need to worry about her coming back in again. So that's the best topic in there. Remember, you need to write sexy paragraphs. So you need the subject. You need the elaboration. You need your example. And you need to, in this case, rather than link it back to the question that was set, you need to say why it continued. If it was so bad, why it continued. Your subtopic 2 is again an idea that is important, but perhaps not as important as the best topic. So next best or next most important topic. Again, that's a sexy paragraph, so you need the subject, elaboration, example, and then why it continued. And the last subtopic, it doesn't have to be the worst one, but it's probably the one that you don't understand the best. It goes last because you'll probably have run out of words by this time to be able to cover it anyway. So that is the next best. Alright, again, subject, elaboration, example, and why it continued. In the conclusion, that comes at the end, obviously, we already know that kind of information. What you need to do in that is take the information that you have in your introduction and swap it around. So rather than who, when, and where, you can do when, where, and who. Sentence 2, rather than what and how and what, and then why at the end. Alright, 5 things that I want to make sure that you do. 5 things I want to make sure that you include in this is I want you to use formal language. Use as high order language as you possibly can. The second thing I want you to make sure that you do is cover a range of topics. The third thing that I want to make sure that you do is use examples and evidence. The next thing I want to make sure that you do is citations and a bibliography. Okay, on the other side, things that I do not want you to do is use contractions. Remember, contractions is when you take a word like do not and you make it do. Don't. No, what am I doing? You make it don't. So that is a contraction. Do not do that. I also want to make sure that you do not use the word things. I want to make sure that you do not forget to explain why. something happened. If you make a statement, always justify why it happened. And I also want to make sure you do not forget to provide an example for each statement that you make, because that backs up whatever it is that you've said. And the last thing that I want to make sure you do not do is put your name on it. Do not use I, us, or we. Make sure you're always talking about historians or you as an historian. Okay, so these ideas, the introduction, who, when and where, that sets the context. So that's why they are in there. Alright, you have to be able to provide the context for the information that you're providing. Sorry, there is a shiny light on that. Provide the context which you are writing about. The next thing that you must always provide is a subtopic. Then you have your best topic, your next best, and your next best topics. You don't have to link those ideas together at all because your subheadings already do that. So that's what these things are. They're subheadings. They should just say things like education or government or politics or economy. All right, those ones. Your subject sets the scene for the paragraph that you're going to write underneath it. It tells the reader the time, the date, the place, and who was in charge at that time if you're writing it about history. Your elaboration actually goes from the subject and explains what that means. It may give a definition, something like that. The example should link specifically to your elaboration, but it also needs to make sure that it's incorporated into the sentences, so you don't just put in a quote, you actually have to lead into and out of the quote. And the why it continued, it means that you actually explain why it happened, how it happened. So this one would be one sentence, this one would be 2 sentences, this one would be 3 sentences, and this one would be 1 sentence. Bare minimum, you'll end up getting about 1,000 words out of that. You may need to expand on these two in the middle a little bit more. All right, so if you have any questions, like always, come and ask me.